and welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander, Director of Sales for Bona Adhesives.
I'm Rob Johnson from the Bona Training.
How are we doing, Rob?
Pretty good, buddy. How you doing?
Good. We made it through most of the holidays.
Yeah, we're coming up on New Year's now. How was your Christmas?
2024. It was fantastic.
Really?
Yep.
Nice.
Went over to a friend's house and played some games, and it was fun.
What game?
Actually, this was I don't even know what you call this game, but they did it last year and they did it this year too, and it is a crack up. So you get a cellophane, a ball of cellophane, and you start rolling it into a ball. Okay, then maybe you put a $10 bill in it. You keep rolling. Then maybe you put lottery tickets in it. You keep rolling, and then you put different things in it, and then you break the cellophane. Every so often you break the cellophane. Okay, and then you put other gifts in there. Prize, it might be a candy bar, whatever. And you just keep rolling it. Then you break the cellophane and you roll it again until you got a ball about bigger than a basketball. Okay. Then you got a pair of dice. All right. Now your turn to roll. Okay. So you roll until someone gets. I'm sorry. Your turn to try to unwrap the ball and get as many prizes as you can. Okay. While the other person is rolling the dice. And when they get a pair, you have to stop. Like if they get 2 6s or 2 5s or a pair of 1s, whatever you roll as fast as you can until that person rolls a pair. Then you stop. Goes to the next person. Then they try to unroll it and get as many presents as they can while the person rolls the dice. And it's a crack up, man. It is really pretty funny. Yeah, so it was fun. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That sounds like a good one.
Yeah, it was really fun. And the kids get so excited that they know you, because you can start seeing the prizes coming up. You know what I mean? And and then the cellophane might break and you can't get to it. You got to find unfurl the new cellophane.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? All right. And then while the person is feverishly rolling the dice to get you to stop, you know what I mean? So they get their turn. So it was pretty fun.
So that could be adults and kids together on that.
Yes, and it was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What'd you get?
Oh, lottery tickets and candy bar or something. I gave the candy bar away to somebody. So, yeah.
Nice.
Well,
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was very nice. So.
Did you get anything good?
That's all I got.
No gifts.
Nope. No gifts.
Okay.
We don't exchange presents.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I did get your postcard, your Christmas card.
Postcard.
And it was very nice actually to see all your grandkids and all dressed up with the pajamas on. It was very nice. That's a very sweet card.
That's Pauline's thing. I think it should just be a picture of me. Personally,
yeah, that'd been nice. You're superimposed in the background.
No, just picture of me.
So you got all boys and one girl.
All boys and one girl. Yep.
Isn't that something?
And we got another boy on the way.
Gosh, you guys just don't quit.
Just keep breeding them. That's
wow,
it.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Good-looking kids, man. It was really nice.
Thank you very much. I will tell everybody. It's all because of me. It's the Johnson gene. Yeah.
No question.
Yeah. They already got a name. They already got a name for the new one. You're going to like this. This is all you, man.
Yeah?
The new kid coming. I think he's coming in June. Finnan McSweeney.
Finnan McSweeney.
How's that for an Irish boy?
That is as Irish as it gets.
That's
a great name. Finnan McSweeney.
Finnan McSweeney. Yep.
I like that. That's great.
That's going to be a fun one. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah. I told you about one of my relatives that, her mom's Irish, her grandmother's Irish. She's Irish. And so she had like 5 or 7 kids, and she named them the most Irish kids you've ever met in your life. I mean, like the most deep down Irish names. We all knew that her real father was Hispanic. Okay, that who she thought was her father wasn't her father. Everybody in the family knew it but her, and she didn't find that out till she was like He's 35 years old or something like that. After like the whole house, Irish, 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 Irish. And then when she named the new kid another Irish name, everybody goes, geez, what are we gonna? Someone's gonna tell her. Someone's gonna tell her. So, but they're great, great, beautiful kids. All right. So today you hit me with something that kind of surprised me. A fresh idea. No. No. You wanted to go reach back a little bit and talk about something we just recently talked about, and I was surprised by that. I thought we covered it very well, but you had some thoughts on that.
Yeah. Well, at the, we did our annual Christmas school a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Was it a couple weeks ago? Yeah, a couple weeks ago. And I had a couple of guys talk to me. They were listening to the podcast, and they was like, "Hey, could you explain ClearSeal again?" It was kind of confusing on the podcast when you were trying to explain it, and I thought, "Wow, I thought we nailed it on the podcast." So, just in case anybody else was feeling the same thing, we're just gonna hit ClearSeal one more time. And I think this time I can make it even more confusing for people. But I will send a picture that they can put up, and it's a pretty good picture of. It shows intense seal, clear seal, and natural seal, and it really has a good look where you can really see the difference between the three.
Well, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Have you ever, some people are not good at emails. They don't come across. No, not you. No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No. But some people are not good at emails. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes the tone of an email is completely different than the intent. And when you pick up the phone and call somebody, it's sometimes way better than the way it comes across in an email. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think emails tend to be a little on the negative side sometimes.
Yeah. Some people are short on emails. There's real direct communication, and it comes off a kind of abrupt.
Yeah.
And quick and to the point. And sometimes. So I can understand how sometimes what we said maybe didn't come across exactly as intended. So and you're high on this product anyhow. We were talking about this a couple days ago. You're pretty pumped about this one. So
I really think that I think you're going to see it start to put a dent in classic seal sales and in intense seal sales. I think.
And why?
Very easy to work. I mean, compared to classic seal, very easy to work with, much better build. Okay. A lot of guys like the classic seal because of the look. You know what I mean? It's a very natural looking sealer. No pigments, no colors to it, but it does give you the natural look. And ClearSeal
does me.
The same thing.
No pigment, no color?
No, you're more like a Nordic seal or natural seal.
Oh, there you go. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like I said, the ClearSeal gives you, and I think when you do a side by side with classic and clear, the ClearSeal looks just a little bit better. I always thought that sometimes classic seal washed out a little bit of color, but it was our only sealer that was just had no color to it, And now we've got the ClearSeal, but the other thing about ClearSeal versus the classic seal, where they're both gives you that look, okay, there's certain barriers that classic seal has. You can't put classic seal over stain, and you can't put classic seal over itself. So Classic Seal is a one-shot deal. You one coat of Classic Seal, and then you have to put a top coat on it. So you're kind of limited.
Classic Seal is one of like a first generation sealer that we came out with,
Yeah, I
right?
think it came out in the 90s. I think it was like one of the first ones.
Maybe even earlier than that. I don't
It,
know,
I
but it's
think
been
they
around.
called it was used to be Bona Seal.
Yeah, correct. Um, and the numbers kept justifying it every year. I mean, you know what I mean? The amount that we sold. I mean, it made no sense not to have it because it the numbers are there and they still are. But to your point, I think the clear seal, all those things that you just mentioned, and also it abrades so much better. It really abrades beautifully, and that was one of the things about Classic Seal is that you have to either hot coat it or abrade it really quick with a maroon pad, right?
Yeah, maroon
Um,
pad and some kind of strip or football or something on there,
yeah.
just to get less friction, less heat, and
Hmm.
not heat that stuff up, and then that's when you get those little gummies and stickers or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So it's definitely everything with Bona. I mean, since you and I have been here, is uh, good, better, best, but we're always improving on the good, better, best. So this is just an amazing improvement on Classic Seal. And Classic Seal is loved because it doesn't really add color to anything that you're doing, but it had its limits where we can do everything. I mean, we are we're tinting the clear seal, we're um doing two coats, very easy to abrade. I mean, there's just so many things that it's going to be actually, it's going to save you a little money using the clear seal over the Classic Seal, because now your 2-in-2 system isn't, one seal or three top coats. Now it's two seal or two top coats, and you're also going to save a little money. But the thing that I loved about it was how easy it is to apply. I mean, how forgiving it is. And, that's, to me, that's everything with first coat on bare wood. I mean, you and I have talked about that till we're blue in the face. And it was just so easy and forgiving.
Yeah. Well, I've been at Bona 10 years now, and I know that's shocking is considering all the accomplishments and the meteoric rise in my stature. But I've seen so many changes at Bona since I first started in products. Um, I mean, the Mega One, the Traffic HD, the Nordic Seal, the Natural Seal, and then this one, all the improvements all down the line. I mean, really, the whole line is not the same since I was here 10 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. They really have improved. Even look at your department, flow.
Yep, yep, absolutely. You can't sit still there, Rob.
So now let's get into the color and where I think we were really confusing people. And
Okay.
it's definitely confusing. Natural seal, okay? You get on the color scale, Nordic is the whitest, right? Nordic is going to be white. 2-3 coats of Nordic, you're going to have a white floor. Natural seal is going to give you, and I'm trying to think of raw. You're a smart guy. What would be another word for
Sure.
raw? The
Raw.
raw look. Because this is where I think I was confusing people. I was saying that natural seal really has a look of raw, like the wood is freshly sanded and it has a raw look. But we have a product called Traffic HD Raw. So
Okay.
when you start throwing these names around, then when you say ClearSeal has a very natural look, now we're like
Yeah.
clear, natural, raw. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everything.
Right.
Now I understand why it's definitely a little confusing.
Okay. Let's do this.
Okay, let's do it. You're a smart guy.
Siri, synonyms for raw.
Uncooked and fresh.
Okay, we could call it uncooked or
We could
fresh,
call
unprocessed, untreated, crude, natural. Those aren't working, Rob.
none of that is working. But you know what I think is funny? I asked you because I'm thinking, well, Wayne's a smart guy. He'll come up with it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're that smart that you went right to Siri.
Siri's everything now. I
Did
mean,
you ever see the movie Elf?
no,
You're kidding.
it, no.
I, you still got time. You should watch the movie Elf. It's a Will Ferrell movie.
You
It's
know
a pretty
what?
funny movie.
One of the cinnamons is intense. Maybe we should call it an intense seal,
Yeah, there you go.
not to make it more confusing. I have not. No, I have not seen Elf.
All right, because this reminds me of a scene in Elf. Okay, uh, part of the story is the guy works at a book publisher. Okay, for kids' books, and they're like completely out of ideas.
Yeah.
So the one guy walks into the boss's office and he goes, "Hey, I've got it. I've got a great idea." And they're like, "Oh, good, perfect." And he goes, "Why don't we bring this guy in, some super book writing guy, and get his ideas?" That was the idea that he had,
Yeah.
was to bring in another
Somebody else.
guy. And the boss is like, "So that's your idea, is to bring in somebody to give us ideas?" And
Yeah.
he's like, "Yes, that's my idea." And
That's
that's what
beautiful.
that just reminded me of, you going to Siri on that.
Well, let's not confuse it anymore. So I shouldn't have interrupted you there. So try to make it more as clear as you can on that color thing.
All right. So the natural seal is going to give you that raw, freshly sanded, nothing on it look,
Yep.
right? We've all
Yep.
heard that too, right? We've all
Yep. Yep.
we've all been tacking and vacking and everything, and a homeowner sticks her head in the door and she says,
Wish I
"Man,
could
if it
have.
would just stay that way."
Yes. Yeah.
Okay? And what do you always used to say? Sorry.
Yeah.
Can't
Yeah. You
do it.
can't do that. You got to put something on it. You
I
can't.
got to
You got
put
to.
something on, and it's
You got
going
to
to change
protect
the
it.
color.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now it's, that's money in your pocket. Now, when she says that, you're like, bingo, here we go. Yeah, I got a sealer. I can do that. And it's only going to cost you 75 cents a foot to do it. No problem.
You cannot have been in this business to not have heard that from a homeowner at the point where it's perfectly sanded and they go, "Gosh, I wish you could leave it just like this."
Yes.
Every single human being in this industry has heard that.
Every school I do when I'm doing the natural seal demo, I say that and I go, "Raise your hands if you've heard that."
Yeah.
And anybody that's been sanding floors for any amount of time raises their hand every
Yeah.
single time.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was just me, but
No, it's everybody. It's universal.
it's everybody. Right. So now that's I want to call it the raw look, but we have raw, right?
Yeah.
So ClearSeal is more of a natural color of the wood. It brings out the natural color of the wood. And I think this is where things really start to get crazy, is we're talking raw, we're talking natural, and we're talking clear.
Well, I think maybe this is it. The natural is like you said, natural. You walk in, you look like, gosh, it doesn't even look like there's anything on there. Okay.
Yeah, right.
This type of kind of just enhances a little bit, enhances the color a little bit, I think, to me.
It brings out the color of the wood.
Yes, yes.
Without adding any pigment.
Yeah. And without getting into the yellow tones, the old 70s and 80s,
Exactly.
that we
There's
had.
no amber tones to it. There's
Yeah.
no lacquer. Lacquer would give you that kind of
Yeah.
washed out type of look. There's no, it really it just brings out the natural color of the wood.
So there are nuances here. We get that, but that's what the homeowners are looking for in options. You know what I mean? If someone is looking for a little bit of white, well, that's not natural. You know what I mean? That's a little bit of white, and that's in Nordic Seal. If they're looking for that raw look, then that's in natural seal. If they want something like this, that just kind of enhances the color a little bit, brings it out a little bit more, then that's going to be in this clear seal.
Hmm.
So, and we have the amber seal if you want to get that oil based look. So yeah, there's some different sealers here, but I think there's nuances and there's reasons for each one of them. If because
You
you
know,
certain
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It would be easy if life was like, all right, your sealer, yep, go boom, use this. But that's not our clients anymore. I mean, they're more specific in what their wants are.
And the other thing too, I did a school last week in Atlanta. Shout out to the guys at Fleming. I'll tell you, that was a way to wrap up the season. What a fantastic class that was. Just really amazing crew, and good luck to them. Um, but we were actually designing some of their samples, how they were going to do samples and bring it in. And they were going to do like 2x2 samples with intense, clear seal, natural seal, and Nordic. And then they were going to cover it with anti-slip. And I was like, that's a great sample board. It's going to break down some colors for you. Maybe throw some amber in there if you want. But that's a whole other thing when you're going to start going with amber and stains and everything. But I also love the idea of top coating it with anti-slip for, to really show a homeowner, hey, just take your shoe off and slide your sock across this and you'll really feel it. So I think there's some great things they can do there with those samples.
Nice, very nice. Okay, I think that clears it up, Rob.
We just cleared up ClearSeal, huh?
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I just want to go back. However you like to apply your sealers, roller, T-bar, trim pad, everything works with this. That is one of the big things about this. Is just the ease and of application and how forgiving it is. Plus, you're going to get around 500 or 600 feet per gallon. You get your 48-hour hot coat window. All that stuff. Green Guard Gold certified. But it also gives you some really good build. So when you're putting your top coats on, you're going to get that look of the depth. But it sounds like we just confused everybody a little bit more. I don't know, but we're going to I think Chris can throw a picture up. I got a pretty
Yeah,
good picture from the New Jersey Training Center of intense, clear seal, and natural seal. And then, I think that'll help break it down.
I think years ago in the past, you talked about how easy these products are to coat now. When we all learned to trade back in the old days in the 70s or 80s or whatever, and the products were, I think, more difficult to apply, and there wasn't as many techniques to apply them. And you were with a journeyman for a long time usually, and there was a learning curve, and it was a steep learning curve, and you would work your way up to finally being coating a floor. I think what one thing Bona has done over the years is realize that um, ease of use has to be a very much a high priority with the products, and the different techniques like rolling and what have you are part of our DNA now. They have to pass that test with us before they pass anything else. Really, they have to be easy to use. And I think that's one thing what we've done over the years and why we've gone to like the Traffic HDs and the Mega ones and now different sealers and whatever is for the ease of use. Now, like a Nordic seal is going to be more difficult to apply. Anytime you have add white to anything, it's going to be the more difficult one to apply. Be aware of that. But by and large, with all the sealers now and the finishes, they've just gotten much easier to use than they had in the past. You remember the old days when all you had was a T-bar and there were some, we didn't know as much as we did right now. Now, also, we were kind of learning back then as we went along, but they've definitely gotten easier as time has gone on.
I love when people say, "Oh, that T-bar, that's the old way, right?" I was like,
Yeah,
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 that kind of hurt.
yeah, and it's still a very effective way. And so the guys, I mean, I'll die on this hill is that I don't ever see a reason to roll a seal coat, in my opinion. I mean, I don't I T-bar every one of them. I just don't see a reason to roll a seal coat. But that's my opinion, and I grew up with coating with a T-bar. But I often will, if that's the case, I often will still roll the last coat. Just depends on the layout to me. All right, Rob. What else? You also you go doing some things with schools now. I feel like
Yeah,
we could talk about.
that was another thing I wanted to talk about today was we cut our regular bonus Santa finish 3-day schools. We cut them in half last year. I think we used to do 20, 24, something like that. And last year, I think we did 12. But the reason we did that was more and more people wanted different types of training. Maybe shorter, maybe a little longer, maybe more in depth, more intermediate stuff. Um, I'm always uh, I'm always a little nervous when I start talking to guys before the school starts. Hey, one of the things I'll always ask is how many years you got on the job, and you'll have guys who are like, oh, this is my third month. And then you get guys who are like, this is my 40th year. And so now, there's a pretty big swing right there. And I'm always careful to make sure that that 40-year guy walks away with some good info as well as the kid. So I mean, I think we've always done a great job at our schools for that. Because it's amazing how many times you get that guy's been doing it 30 or 40 years, and as he's walking out and handshaking and everything, he's like, I never knew this, I never knew that, thanks a lot, this was great. So I know we always do a good job of that mix of guys that you get at our school. But we want to focus a little bit more on intermediate. And I mean, the other thing now with your department, it just seemed like, okay, it's definitely time for Bona to wade into installation classes. And the addition of Mike Dittmer to the team is just you know what I mean, we get Dittmer on our team. So as far as install, it's floor of the year. You know what I mean? So I mean, I know you do too. Can you hear that? I,
Is it what?
yep,
Yeah, it's there. Yeah, a little in the distance. It came in. I heard
coming
it.
in. Yeah, even
Yeah,
play
yeah,
play it even for Dittmer.
yeah, yeah.
So the addition of Mike Dittmer um, to our trainings, and because now, like I said, we're wading right into installation classes, and it's almost like we've started with intermediate. And
Yeah. Well, if you name the top five guys in this business whose work I respect, Mike is in that top five. He's just that guy. But when it comes to being to human beings, you're not going to find anybody better than Mike Dittmer. You're just not going to. He's that saying. He just must he makes me want to be a better person. He's that kind of guy. Yeah, he's just a wonderful, wonderful human being. So, yeah, we couldn't have done any better. So,
he's got a good sense of humor too. Um,
oh yeah,
here's another thing about Mike Dittmer. We 2 weeks ago we did our Christmas school, and this Christmas school down in Jersey, we do this every year. This Christmas school, um, we did an install. Okay, we did. Day one was Dittmer showing everybody how to lay out, and it wasn't it was intermediate. It was herringbone layout, glue down, the whole deal. Actually, two, what he did was he showed people how to take an existing floor, tear it out, or tear out a portion of it, and do a medallion and all that kind of stuff. So it was like, his thing was like, you can walk into a room and it's just a regular straight lay, but here's things you can do. And so I thought, wow, this is great. This is
Yeah.
something that I don't think I've ever seen in another class. But with all that said, the class started Tuesday. Yeah, it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And Dittmer had a class in Texas the week before. So he knew that his tools would probably not make it. And he wanted to use his, fest tool and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The dude drives from Texas to New Jersey over
Wow.
the weekend
Yeah.
with a smile on his face.
He was a contractor for a long time, and that work ethic and that high standard of his doesn't drop. You know what I mean? He goes into these schools and he has the same expectations and the same same work ethic and everything. I mean, he's a class guy. I mean, that doesn't surprise me that that's the case. Good dude.
When I heard that, I was like, Mike, you are just. I said there was no other way. He goes, well, I didn't want to take the chance. I wanted to make sure. He goes, I know this school's important to you guys, and that's how he was.
Yeah.
He's just such an aw shucks guy. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's almost like he didn't realize uh, how important what he did was. You know what I mean? He was just like,
Yeah.
I just drove up and I'm like, and of course it was during the big storm, right?
Yep.
So I said, man, did you get roughed up by that storm? He goes, it literally followed me the entire way.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Ah.
but that's going to be a great addition to this year's schools. Is some of our more 3-day intermediate schools, they're going to be. That's what's going to be part of it. Is now we're going into the installation section, and
Yeah.
I like this because we're going to call it intermediate, and so it's like I said, the intermediate, we're adding, so we might not be going over, for guys who have never run a machine or something like that. But I say that, and somebody always shows up. There's always that. And the great part of our training centers is there's always plenty of room for me to take some guys and maybe some new guys who even show up for an intermediate because the whole crew's coming or something.
Yeah.
But because of the size of our training centers, there's always room for us to, hey, come on over here and we'll work with you. Just doing the beginner type stuff and everything. So I think that's part of the great part of our training centers is the size of them. And, we're not limited to
Yeah.
anything.
One thing that Mike did that one of the schools I was at that I like is that he showed him how to do the center layout for herringbone for the spine and everything, and how to do your two offset lines, and then showed everybody got it. Okay, everybody understand how he did. Okay, good. And then he took a power drive and power drives off all his marks and said, "All right, now you guys do it." So you
Now
guys
do it.
now
Yeah.
that way you can once you do it yourself, you kind of get a better grasp of it. So I'd be curious of our listeners. Give us some feedback if you were to be interested in going to a herringbone school this year with Mike Dittmer. I'm just curious on the feedback. So, what about you did color schools last year?
Yep. We did. There are so many things that we have going on now as far as color, and I know we talked about it before, but even ClearSeal, throwing ClearSeal in the mix, now all of a sudden we've got another product that we can do some tinting with that's even going to get you a more crystal clear look. So the color schools, we do the Bona glaze, which is mixing our paint our game line water-based paint into sealers, so you can make any type of sealer color that you need to make. We mix paints and stains. We do, of course, natural, Nordic, amber seal. Oh, it's amazing what we can do with all those products as far as achieving different colors, different things. But what we really work on is, that's the easy part. Just showing somebody, take a half cup of paint, half cup of gray paint, throw it in some intense seal, and all of a sudden I've got a really nice looking, sealer. Now we'll throw it in ClearSeal, and we got a nice gray type of a Nordic seal product. That's easy. That's the easy part. What we really focus on is the process, the techniques, the application of these things, because anybody can do the mix. It's getting it on the floor and making it look good. And we just show some different tricks, especially herringbone parquet. One of the tricks that we show at these color schools is, and I got to give a shout out to Jeremiah, because he was talking about this years ago and I thought he was nuts until we got the memo from Sweden, where we water pop the floor. Very nice, very even water pop, but don't let it dry, and then pull a coat over that bare wood. Pull some of these tints and these colors, things like that. And it's just, what that does is it blocks the sealer from the wood sucking all the moisture out, because there's a lot of moisture in the wood already. And I'm going to give Jeremiah another shout out. I hope he's listening, because
You want to explain who this Jeremiah fellow is?
yeah, you explain. You'll do better.
Yeah, Jeremiah Strong is the territory manager out of Nashville, Tennessee, that has a lot of southern states for us. And he's the first guy I ever seen. I credit him with that too. You have to give it up to him. This technique does work very well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought he was nuts. I go, no, you can't do that. So yeah, I had to give it up to Jeremiah. He invented that a long time ago.
Yeah.
But anyways, those color schools, that's it's showing you that you can do it, but it's also showing you the different techniques and some of the tips and tricks. And sometimes it's easier just to put down a coat of ClearSeal and then lay your tints and everything on top. You're going to get a better. So that's what we really do at these color schools, and they have been. People want more and more of these. We're seeing that people want more, and that school we can usually bang out in a day. So we've gone into some distributors. We've even gone into some larger contractors' own place and did the hands-on training right there. But the color schools have been very successful. Successful to the point where you're going to see a lot more of these. One of the things that we've done is we're talking to all the TMs, and what we want to do is, we talk about all these schools, but I think what we want to do this year is do a really great job of setting some dates, rather than, okay, so because if you let's say you don't go to your distributor, you just get deliveries and things like that, you might not know about these schools and everything. So I think we're going to do a really good job this year of when the color schools are, when the scrubber schools are, when the power drive schools are, things like that.
Well, going back to the color school, one of the coolest floors that I was involved in was it was mixing intense seal, I think 50-50 with black paint, for one of the blackest floors I've ever seen. It was incredible looking. It was beautiful. And the nice thing about it is, when you do that, if you ever have to sand that floor off, if you ever sand an ebony floor off, that ebony is down into that grain, man. And it's hard to get all that back out again. But these floors, you could sand them off Snow White down the road. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't have that same effect. But we rolled it on, and oh my gosh, that floor was stunning when it was done. It was beautiful, black as could be. So
I love that look on a wire brush floor. I think that is the ultimate wire brush look.
Yep. I agree.
is wire brush and that 60/40 paint blend with the intense seal. Crazy how good that looks.
You look across that floor. Oh my God, is that a good looking floor when it's done?
Yeah.
Wire
Yeah, it's
brush with
bad.
yeah, it almost has a silvery look to it when you look across it. It's just stunning. All right.
Another school that we did a few of last year, and I know we're going to do a lot more this year, is our kind of, I guess we could call it the advanced power drive school,
It's
and
hot.
just showing people how much more they can do with a power drive. Flattening the floor with the steel plates, the wire brushes, the diamond plates for removing the aluminum oxide pre-finished stuff. Um, just showing you how the weights really work and when you should use what weight and direction and stuff. Because there's a lot of people with power drives out there that sometimes they don't realize how much more they can be doing with the power drive. And so those power drive, the advanced or intermediate power drive classes were very successful. And we're going to probably be doing a lot more because, let's face it, more and more people are getting power drives.
Yeah. I put my brothers in that same category where I keep saying where they had it and they really didn't know what they had and it sat and they never really used it until the weights came out. And then when the other accessories came out too, um, holy smokes! And that's a big investment for someone to buy a power drive. And you want to make sure you're getting all that you can out of it. You know the sequences and everything. The nice thing about this class is you're getting there with a lot of people that have a lot of different success with it, a lot of hours on their machines, and it's kind of like you put all these brains in the same room of I do this to get this result, and I'm using it this way and everything, and that just makes for a lot of great networking and discussion. So yeah,
Yeah. Another school that I think we're going to see a lot more of that we did two last year, and I've already had a bunch of TMs talk to me about they want to do one in their territory, are the power scrubber school. And you don't have to have a power scrubber to go to this school. But it was amazing how many people came to these schools that had power scrubbers and were like, wow, I didn't know I could do this with it. I didn't know I could do that with it. So it gave them some more ideas. But really the focus on this is removing Bona polish, removing paste wax, removing Murphy's oil soap. We all run into these jobs, and Bona's got some amazing systems that I never thought we really talked about enough. I mean, we talk about a little bit in the school, but at these schools, me and whatever TM will go in the day before the school is going to start, and we destroy the place. We put down Murphy's oil soap. We put down paste wax. We put down, Bona polish. Now, I think I might have said this before one of the shows, but I never understood why people use all this mop and glow. I never understood why people use this crap in their floors, right? And Jeremiah, the guy you were talking about down in Nashville, Jeremiah and I did the first one at his place. And we coated all these floors with and we read the directions, man. I mean, we did everything by the book with all these crappy products that we tell people do not use. Well, we came in the next day and I looked at him, he looked at me, I go, okay, I get it. Now I understand why people use this stuff. It looked amazing. It looked great. Smelled great, smelled clean. It was an eye-opening experience, but the issue that you run into, it looks good for a while, and then people start adding more and more of these, you know, build-up type products that are all going to be a bond breaker someday. So, but it did give us a little understanding of why people do it because it looked and smelled great. You know, their house was going to look and smell clean. So with these classes, like I said, we go in the day before class is gonna start, coat all the floors with all these bad contaminants, and then we spend the next 2 days showing you how to remove it and then coat it. So like day one is removing stuff, and they two is the coating over all these different products that we've eliminated. And of course, we touch on, do a lot with the power scrubber, showing different brushes, the red brush, the white brush, the deep clean system, all that stuff. So it's it's a pretty cool school. And boy, we've just had, every time we put one out there, the seats get filled up really quick.
I just had a text message the day after Christmas from somebody. It says, "Hi Wayne, hope you had a fabulous Christmas. My associate at work is having problems with her hardwood. This is what she did. First day, mopped with robot machine and Murphy's oil. Got sticky. Same day, remopped the machine and shark concentrate. Was a little better. Same day, mopped with hot water and vinegar. Second day, mopped with hot water and vinegar. They had a cloudy and hazy. They are cloudy and hazy. I told her Murphy's oil soap is a no-no and hot water is a no-no. And I've been out of the business for several years. She has 5-inch yoke, blah, blah, blah. Any suggestions?" So, I mean, we get these calls every day.
Every day, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there you go. So, and Jeremiah Strong that you mentioned at that class, I talked to him after you guys had this class before I talked to you. And I just say, "Hey, man, how you doing? You getting caught up?" And he goes, "Hey, we just had this class." And he was like, "Man, you can't believe how bad this machine is, man." And this was he goes, I was not excited about doing the class until we got halfway through it. I thought, man, we should be doing these all the time. It's amazing what we took off that floor. And you didn't even get into, I don't know if you guys did it at all, our Bona remover system.
Oh no,
If you touched on
no,
that.
no. We do all of our removals. We do, we show you exactly, because it's all hands on.
Good.
It's all hands on. We actually use the Bona remover system to remove the Murphy's oil soap. And that guaranteed system, it has the pumice, and you buff it and then you rinse it and then do it over. I mean, we do everything by the book. We do the prep system, we do the deep clean. So we show all of our recoat systems, from deep clean, prep, right up to the guaranteed removal system.
If I was a contractor and I had a client called me and said, "Hey, I've got this on my floor," and blah blah blah, not only I would be able to say, "Listen, I have the solution for this. We have the products and the knowledge to do this," but I also took the time out to go to a school to learn from the manufacturer exactly what we can do and how to get this stuff off. I mean, that's how much we care about our clients and our business and blah blah blah. Who are you going to go with? You know what I mean? Who
Yeah,
you
exactly.
who you going to hire to do that job? I've
Yeah,
said
and
this,
especially like
I mean,
that. Go ahead.
thank you. Because it's probably going to be more important than what you were going to say.
That's why.
Yeah, thank
Definitely
you.
let you go.
You acquiesced. Yeah.
Yeah.
Acquiesced.
You
Yeah.
acquiesced.
I'm not even sure I know exactly what it means. But my father-in-law, my father-in-law made all his money in life because he saved money. And any money he made because he was very frugal with his money and he saved his money. So when Judy and I got married, he'd be buying machines and sanders and buying more sanders and putting more money into the edges and buffer, whatever. He'd be like, "Gosh, I mean, how much did this cost you? You're spending all this money, blah, blah." What he didn't understand is that I made money. Everything was an investment in the business, and every tool I bought, I made money off of, and that's how I made the money. I spent the money on it if it made sense. I would buy the tool. I'd buy quality tools, so I didn't have to buy it twice. I'd invest in it. I would make money off it, and that's how I made money. You know what I mean? So investing in a class like this, investing in a tool like a power scrubber, definitely pays off. And to be able, but part of that too, man, I always say part of that too is to be able to have a conversation with your client that listen, yeah, the phone book is full of floor guys, but as it pertains to this, we understand these products. We took the time out. We flew to the school. We went to the school. We spent a 3-day school and learned exactly the process from the manufacturer. We have the tools to do this, and yes, we're the qualified people to do it. I mean, I just don't know how you would go with somebody else if you're now that I just had somebody build my deck, and I'm seeing it. I used to do these things all myself. I used to, a younger me would have built that deck. I would have done it myself, and I would have done. Now I'm having to hire people to do things that I would normally do, and I'm on the other side of it now, and I see the other side of it. And the guy that built my deck, he did a good job. There's some things I would have done better.
Exactly.
You know what
Yes.
I mean?
Yeah.
Really, it's
Yeah.
just it's the truth. And he got done a couple days early, so okay, you could have put that time into this. You know what I mean? And
Right.
but you didn't. And I notice those things now. So I don't know, man. As if I'm dealing with contractors, and they can tell me this and blah blah blah, I think their price goes up. I am more than happy to pay it if the guy's qualified and shows me a reason why. I always say people will part with their money. They will absolutely part with their money if you can show them the quality of the product and why. You give them a good reason to do it, they'll do it.
I hate people working on my house. I hate it.
I've got such a
I
good. Go
I
ahead.
always look at what they're doing and I'm like, I could do that. I turn into those people that floor guys hate. Is like, look, if I had the time, I could do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I would do it. You know. So I am that jack when it comes to watching people work on my house.
Well, Rob, we're getting up against it. So
Yeah.
good stuff. I'm glad to see you excited about the new year, the school's coming up and everything. You always are.
You know, when they cut the schools in half, I was like, oh my gosh. Wow. How are we going to fill all this time? You know, and now it's like, I did this year, coming up to Christmas, we did 15 schools in 16 weeks.
It's a lot.
Just on the East. 15 and started around the middle of September to the middle of December. We did 15 classes in 16 weeks. And I mean, we did just about everything. So
And
it was a whirlwind. And by doing all these new schools and different stuff, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun.
And keep in mind that we are bringing these schools to the contractors in a lot of cases. We don't just have the one location. We have all across the country. We're doing these schools. So
All these schools that I was talking about, we did some at distributors. We did some in our training centers. We took the show right into some of these contractors who had, large enough space for us to come in. So yeah, I mean, that's Bona training in a nutshell. We'll bring the show to you somehow,
Good stuff, Rob. All right. Thank you very much, Rob. This has been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. Please stay tuned for another episode.